WSBU 88.3 The Buzz, and I'm Cassidey Kavathas, the news director here, and I'm joined with two special guests, Alice Miller Nation and Gabby Ruffalo, and we're talking about Giving Tuesday at Bona's. So what is Giving Tuesday?
Giving Tuesday is a one-day
online giving day that started about 10 years ago, and it's a national program, so you're going to see it all over the country. And as we begin a season of giving, it's a day where we invite people to give to their favorite charities. After we've just done Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and then Tuesday is devoted to, can we find any room to give to the charities and the organizations that we all love?
So what does Giving Tuesday kind of help here at Bona's? What is it directed towards?
So here at Bonaventure, the university has given this to the Franciscan Center for Social Concern. Some people don't have a clue what that means, but you know it by the Warming House, Bonobos, Silver Wolves, SBU at the SPCA. Break the Bubble is where we take students off campus over breaks and long weekends to engage in service learning and transformational learning, and the SBU Food Pantry. So it's a day where those programs and outreach ministries are supported by the campus community, by the Olean community, and by alums and people who just are Bonnies.
It seems in the community spirit to give back to others here at Bona's. Can you give a little bit about each program that these donations will help the most?
What I've told the students who help with this campaign is that we will make sure that each of their programs gets what they need. So obviously the Warming House is like our biggest ticket item in the Franciscan Center for Social Concern. The Warming House budget is between $115,000 and $120,000 a year, where Bonobos is $20,000. The SBU Food Pantry, much less than that. So we've had some great success over the last few years on Giving Tuesday. So this is a day where I will make sure that the money is distributed to each of the outreach programs as they need.
So I know that the website is up live now. What is your goal for this Giving Tuesday on November 30th?
So our goal is $3,000 total. We're hoping to get more, but that's our goal for right now. Specifically for the program Bonobos, our goal right now is $5,000, but that's subject to change with our generous donors and just like the hope that everyone wants to contribute. So right now, Bonobos is at about $1,775, and the overall donated was $58.51, I believe. So we're making our way. We still have a little bit more time, but we're just hoping that everyone, like Alice said, is hoping like after the busy Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business, Cyber Monday weekend, that there's still a little room to give to these programs.
Yeah, it's definitely in the giving season as we go into the holidays and Christmas to give back to these amazing programs that help so many people here in the community. I know that you, Gabby, are involved in Bonobos. Could you share a little about your experience in that program?
Oh, absolutely. So Bonobos is a youth mentoring program. It's actually one of the biggest ones in New York State, and we extend and reach out to all the kids in the Cattaraugus County area, and right now we're even looking at outside the county just to make sure everyone's included. And so what it really is we get children from the area, and they are matched up with a college student that will become their mentor for the semester, and it could be last years. And so they come to campus, and we really just try to let them be free, enjoy their time here. It's pretty cool that they get to come to a college campus, that they have someone older to look out for them, to confide in, and really just have someone to guide them and give them good life experiences and good goals in life. And so why Giving Tuesday is very important for Bonobos is without like funding and without all this, like it wouldn't really be possible, because we just really try to give them all the best experiences. Like we made first aid kits the other day, which is a really great experience and really good life like goals. We had Merck come and they taught them how to stop bleeding, how to put on bandages, and we think that's like important life skills that they need to know. And without funding, wouldn't be made. They lit up when they got to choose all their Band-Aids. We had Paw Patrol, Frozen, and they got to put them all in bags. And so it's really just important to think about not only yourself, but also who it's affecting. Without this program, there'd be about 80 kids without mentors right now and without being able to come to campus. And so it's a really great experience for everyone.
The other cool thing about Bonobos is this past fall, we had so Bonaventure population that many of our buddies have 2 mentors, which is real. A mentor is a person who just believes in you. And, isn't it great that everybody has one person that just thinks they can do no wrong and supports them and encourages them? We have 2 hours of Bonobos. So a buddy comes to campus once a week for 2 hours, and 1 hour is generally spent playing games or doing homework. Really impressed with the SPU students who really encourage and help their students with homework, not to do it for them, but to help teach the concepts that they're missing and just help them get that out of the way for the day. And then we have clubs come in and do things with the students. So last week it was MERT, and that's the first time we'd ever have MERT come in. And actually,
It was pretty
like
cool.
Gabby said, it was pretty
cool.
cool. I have a picture on my phone of a student learning just the basics of CPR. We ever expect them to do CPR on somebody, but at a young age, at 5 or 6 or 7 years old, to start to learn what that is, why it's important. And so as they get older, they can do that themselves. But we do many different clubs come into Bonobos. Another fun one and a really popular one is the biochemistry club, and they extract DNA from fruit and put it into little vials and turn it into necklaces for the kids.
Oh, that's so cool.
Sometimes ROTC has come in and they take the kids out into obstacle course and just run them through that. I remember one year the women's lacrosse team did drills with the kids,
one, yes.
And one of the kids went home and told her mother she wanted a lacrosse stick for Christmas. So really cool things happen when older people and younger people get to form relationships together in a healthy and productive way. We've had some great stories in the past. During the pandemic, I had the opportunity to reunite ago. And so we were on Zoom. We were supposed to meet here on campus. We were on Zoom, and it was just magical. The mentee said, Bonobos changed my life. I came from a really tough situation, and I couldn't wait to be with my mentor. The mentor, on the other hand, now this is 30 years later, is saying to me on the phone, I want to go back to that conversation about what Pam said about Bonobos changing your life. My life is because I came from the youngest of 5 girls. I was not responsible for anything. My older sisters took care of everything for me. And I one day went, that was back in the days when the mentors would go pick up the buddies at their house and bring them to campus. And she said, I remember watching Pam slide down the banister in their front yard and run and jump into my car. And she goes, at that moment, I realized this kid depends on me. I have to be on, and I've got to be ready every single time I'm with her. And she said, so Bonobos taught me I've got responsibilities. So to hear these stories 30 years later was just delightful. So we still have not brought these two together yet. One lives in Syracuse, one lives in Buffalo, and that's our goal. Now that things are starting to open up again, we want to bring them back to campus and just show them Bono love in a big way.
I'm sure that would be a great reunion.
I know that besides Bonobos, a lot of the programs here are life-changing. I've heard you talk a lot about the warming house, the food pantry here on campus, the farm to table summer program. Do you want to speak a little about some stories from there that Giving Tuesday also helps fund?
Absolutely.
So the warming house is what we believe to be the oldest student-run soup kitchen in the country. And it's really student-run. Yesterday afternoon, I was in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I had to go to a kitchen store while I was there. And we actually purchased our range, our stove that's in the warming house. And so he saw Bonnie's coat, and he goes, hey, how's the team this year? And I was like, how's the team this year? What are you talking about? Haven't you read the papers? Number 23. And nationally. So anyway, we were buying some things and he goes, so student run, is it really student run? I said, well, right now it's 4:00 and I'm here and there's a meal being served at the warming house. I said, I get a lot of credit for the warming house, but I do not run the warming house. It's students who run it. I mean, when you think about it, they're running a small nonprofit. Like students are getting experience running a business while they're in undergrad. That's just crazy. So the grad student who's the manager of the warming house, he is getting experience supervising, running operations, dealing with inventory, all the things that go into running a business. It's crazy, exciting experience that students from Bonas can put on their resume. I don't think you get that everywhere. So that's really exciting just on that aspect. The other thing is in 2019, the warming house served just under 6,000 meals. In 2020, when the pandemic started, we served over 12,000 meals. This year, we're anticipating serving 8,000 meals, maybe a little bit more. About 2 months ago, the numbers started jumping up. We don't know why. You know how we're going to respond to that? We're going to keep on serving meals. We don't always need to know why it's happening. All we know is that people are coming to us. We were able to open up the dining room after 16 months of having it closed. Do you remember back in March of 2020 when all we thought we had to do was flatten the curve for 2 weeks? Our dining room was closed for 16 months to the day. And two people, I have pictures on my phone of two people who showed up and wanted to be the first two guests back in the dining room. The other thing we did was we didn't get rid of takeout meals because, as we know, here in Cattaraugus County, up in the Rochester area, the virus still has a tight grip on the community. And so we want people to feel comfortable. So you can come to the warming house between 4:00 and 4:45 and you can eat inside. Actually, the dining room opens at 2:30, so people can come in and have a nice, warm, dry place to sit on a cold day or a cool place to sit on a hot day and get something to drink, something to eat until the meal is served. But we serve the meal at 4:00 in the dining room, and then between 4 and 4:45, we serve takeouts through the back door. Guests can come in and get however meals that will be eaten. People say to me, how many meals can I take? And my answer, or the answer of the coordinators, it's usually not my answer, is how many meals are going to be eaten? That's open and can be. So, it's more guests. One of the things that makes the warming house different than other soup kitchens is that after we serve the meal, we send in some of our volunteers to sit down and share a meal with the guests. Most soup kitchens don't do that. We do it because we're Franciscan, because we don't make any apologies for being a Franciscan university, and it's all based on relationship. So how I get to know Gabby, not just as an employee, as a Bonobos coordinator, but how I get to know her as a person. And I just found out that over the weekend, she's going to make a nacho table for her housemates and friends as they study away, getting ready for the end of the semester. It's all about the relationships we form with other people. And we want to get people ready to leave Bonaventure. As much as we like to keep you here, we want you to go away, and we want you to make to be light and to be hope in the world. On the day you graduate from this university, we want you to hold that degree high. You have worked hard for it, and there's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. But the other thing, we want you to leave with something else, and it's sometimes not as obvious, but a Franciscan heart is what we want each of our students to have. And you've got lots of ways and opportunities to develop that heart and to fine tune it. But we want everybody to know that it's on us to be light for the world. It's on us to be hope for other people. So whether it's playing with a kid at Bonobos, whether it's serving a meal at the warming house, whether it's taking a shift at the SVU food pantry here on campus, or going to Philadelphia and volunteering there for a week, Bonnies are people who help show the way. Now, it doesn't mean that other people don't, but we do it in a special way, and we're proud of that.
I remember when we were talking about the warming house, you
have a library kind of set up in there that is new. Can you go in a little in depth into the new things that are inside the warming house?
Bauer, one of our, Ryan's a sophomore this year, and he started volunteering at the Warming House when he was a freshman. Boredom, because last year on campus, there wasn't a lot to do. And so he started coming every week. The cool thing is the people who volunteered with him that day all realized about right before they were planning their schedules for the next semester that if they didn't plan well, they weren't going to be able to volunteer together. So this group of people, of students, planned their class schedule for spring semester based upon what day they could all be at the Warming House together. So Ryan called me over the summer and said, hey, would it be okay if we started a little library at the Warming House? I said, well, tell me what you're thinking. And we talked about it, and we decided it would be a good thing. Actually, the guests love it. So there's things for kids there, coloring books and just kids' books. But there's things for, adults and everybody in between. It's a wide variety of books. And we don't have any checkout system. Like, we're pretty
Chill.
Yeah, pretty chill
Pretty
about the whole thing. So take a book, bring a book, whatever works for you. And you know what? We're not running out of books. That's the crazy thing. We've got lots of books. So that's just another thing we can offer. When things open up a little bit more, we'll go back to having educational classes for our guests. At one point, we were doing cooking classes. And if you came to a Saturday morning cooking class, you would get all the ingredients for free to take home and make the same dish at home. And that was based upon a grant that we had through the Cattaraugus Region Community Foundation. We've had different groups come in. We've had the National Mental Health Alliance come in and just do education on mental health. Actually, that's one of the biggest challenges for our guests is access to medical services, access to medication, and the ability to be able to stay on top of those things. So those are some of the other things we have at the Warming House. We're going to have a great Christmas party on December 12th, but we're going to mix things up a little bit as the pandemic has taught us. It's going to be an outdoor party because even on an organized year and a normal year, the Christmas party at the Warming House is chaos. So we're going to do it outside. It's going to be, we're going to expand our hours a bit. Movie on the wall of the outside of the building. We're gonna have music. We're gonna have a Christmas tree up the whole time from Thanksgiving on, and hats and scarves on it that people can just come and take as they need them. So, and there'll be gifts and food for everybody.
Do you have any plans for Thanksgiving now that we talked about Christmas?
Yeah, I jumped the gun there, didn't I? The thing about Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter at the Warming House is that we have great partnerships in this community. And 3 of the churches take those 3 days so that the Warming House can be. So on Thanksgiving Day, the actual day of Thanksgiving, the meal is going to be served by St. Stephen's Church. So if anybody would like to get a Thanksgiving dinner, you can call St. Stephen's now and reserve a meal, and they'll be made. It's going to be all takeout. It's the church is located right by Lincoln Park on Berry Street, and people can call there now and order a dinner. And then Christmas will be, I'm not going to say which one because I get confused between who does the other ones yet, but that'll be out soon. And the same with Easter. So those actual days, the Warming House is closed, and we send our guests over there to get meals. But we will serve a Thanksgiving dinner, and I think it's going to be the day after Thanksgiving. So, many of our guests don't get the luxury of having all the leftovers, so we'll do it for them.
No, the leftovers have to be the best part of Thanksgiving.
So I feel like getting a meal on Friday is way better than the day before.
Do you make a sandwich out of it, or do you make another
Thanksgiving meal when you do it at home.
I kind of pick at it throughout the week, if that makes sense. It's 2 in the morning in the fridge.
I make a big sandwich, a big plate, and I
Compile it all together, or I put it on some more bread, and you gotta carbo load it up. That's the time. This is your past.
It's the jelly type of
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of falls out.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan, but I've been getting into it more because I know that's the hit or miss on Thanksgiving. I feel like.
Is there any other programs that Giving Tuesday helps with their donations that
Yeah.
you want to highlight right now?
Absolutely. So the SBU food pantry, that's one of
The first summer that I was back at Bona's, or not back at Bona's, at Bona's, 4 year, I'm in my 4th year now. I had a student come up to me on a Friday in the summer and say, we were just talking, and she said she didn't have food for the weekend. And I said, what do you mean you don't have food for the weekend? She goes, well, my roommate and I only have a couple cans of soup and a little bit of milk for the weekend. And I said, really? And I knew she was volunteering at the warming house that day. So I said, well, let's start with, when you're at the warming house today, go take some meals home. And so I had to come back to campus the next day for something. And I really wasn't sure how to navigate this. I'd only worked here about a month and a half. And my supervisor, Father Francis, wasn't on campus that weekend. He was away. So I brought a bag of groceries from home and gave it to her the next morning to get her through the weekend. So then on Monday, I went to Fran and I said, Father Francis, what's up with this? And he's like, I had no idea. And I said, either way. So I started doing a little homework on it and discovered that nationally, 30% of undergraduate students have a food insecurity issue. I'm like, we got to take care of that. So we set up a temporary, like a stopgap food pantry in University Ministry's kitchen. And we didn't really advertise it. It was a word of mouth thing. And there was a sign that said, bring a can, leave a can, take what you need, just clean up after yourself, like wash your own dishes. And so that worked for a while we put together a task to really study it and see, like, how much of an issue is this? And that's when we started realizing that every college campus in this country has a food pantry now. So we, on this task force, we had administrators, faculty, staff, and students. And we studied a lot of different possibilities. You know, like, do we do like a pod kind of thing in a parking lot? Do we put it in one of the buildings? And then it also occurred to us that many of our hourly employees here on campus very well could be dealing with food insecurity. We live in one of the 6 poorest counties in this state. And food insecurity isn't just a student thing, and it's just not a poor people thing. It's when people just don't have enough food and they have to allocate their resources in different ways to make sure that the rent is paid, or they have gas to get to work, or they have a car that works to get to work. And so we set up our food pantry that it's open to faculty, staff, and students. Now, students' use is the most people who come to it, but we do have staff that come on a regular basis because it just helps them. And so this is just one more case of Bonnies helping Bonnies. And it took us a couple of years to figure out like what hours are the sweet spot that really work for people. And so we're open on Monday through Thursday from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. and on Fridays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. But you can always email me, and I have the best email on this campus, anation@sbu.edu. And we can set something up to make sure that people get what they need whenever they need it. The other thing that we have is SBU at the SPCA. I am so thankful for our local animal shelter this year. And that's because last year on this campus and every campus in the country, when life was so different, when so many things just couldn't happen because of the virus, the SPCA continued to have our students come to walk dogs, pet cats, and just chill. And so we continue that. Last year, we were doing sometimes 3 trips a week to the SPCA just so students could go hang out with pets. And what it did is normalize their experience here at school a little bit more. So we continue to take 2 or 3 trips a week, depending on what the need is. And we're able to support our local animal shelter and socialize animals until they can get into homes. So that's something that happens on a regular basis. You know, it's not a program that costs us a lot of money, but we have a van that is used with Bonobos and the SPCA. And so it's van costs, insurance costs, gas costs, those kinds of things. What haven't we talked about? Oh,
Silver Wolves.
Silver Wolves. It's our relationships with elderly in our community. And for many years, we've been going to Eden Heights and just forming relationships with older folks who have a lot of time on their hands. So it's a chance for our students to glimpse and peek into the lives of an older person, and the older person be able to peek in the lives of a college student. This year we were able to expand to Field of Dreams in addition to Eden Heights. So
I'm actually becoming a personal curator at the Field of Dreams right now.
good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. So you're going to start seeing Bona students over there when you start working.
Sounds good. Send them all over.
So the other thing that is on hold right now, but another really unique way to connect with older people is we have a program called Friends with Sisters. And right across the street from the campus is the the Allegheny Franciscan Sisters Mother House. And there are approximately 60 to 65 women living there. A few years ago, the fourth youngest person was 74. I don't know what it is now. And so basically they range from, like 7, like I'm sure there's some younger ones there too, but let's just say ballpark 70s to 100. And it's not a really big program, but we had 6 or 7 Bonaventure students, both male and female students, interestingly enough, who just wanted to have a relationship with an elderly sister. Well, it was pretty fun. Before the pandemic, I'd walk into the Mother House and go down and have breakfast with my friend, Sister Christine, and Sister Chris, and there I'd see a student having breakfast with one of the sisters. Okay, you scammed a moocha meal. And they were just talking over breakfast or whatever. So, it was just delightful to watch that happen. There's Sister Chris, her Bonaventure friend, they talk on the phone every Wednesday at 1:00. All the way through the pandemic, they So that was on hold in the Mother House because of the pandemic. The elderly are some of the most people in our community. So we really want to protect them as much as we can. So even though most of our campus is vaccinated, we still want to keep people safe. So we'll be able to pick that up when it's time to pick it back up again. So I think the only program we haven't talked about is Break the Bubble. And that's getting Bonaventure students off campus to have transformational learning experiences. Dr. DePiro often talked about transformational experiences while students are here at Bonaventure. And this is one way to do it. So this year we're starting that program back up again, and we're going to one place because it's a pretty self-contained place. It's a soup kitchen in Philadelphia called the St. Francis Inn. And the inn is run by the same friars who are in the province with Bonaventure friars. And that's the Holy Name province. And this soup kitchen serves 350 to 400 meals every day of the year. It's a well-oiled machine. The warming house has actually taken a lot of best practices from them. So whenever I'm down at the inn, I'm always taking pictures of things and stealing it and, doing the same thing, like the knife rack. I had a little bit of knife rack envy when I was there last time. And so when I got back, I went on Amazon, bought the same knife rack. Actually, I'll be honest with you, I bought it on Amazon while I was still there. So it was delivered. It was delivered when I got back. And so then we got a second one, and we have beautiful Cutco knives, all engraved with the warming house on them, that, because of the generosity of the Cutco Foundation. So it's a best practice soup kitchen that just teaches our students so many things. The other thing is we do a little sightseeing in Philadelphia when we're there. So on Sunday, typically the first day that we're there, we serve a meal at the inn, and then we go to Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. And then after we have our dinner, we come back and we have reflection and conversation every night. And that evening, we talk about what's freedom. We just went to the birthplace of America's freedom, and we served a meal at a soup kitchen. Who's free and who's not free? And are there times in our lives when we're not free because we let things get to us and we get all wound up and tied up inside? And so in that case, could somebody who lives on the street be more free than someone who's getting a college education? I think sometimes the answer is yes. And so we learn a lot about ourselves, about other people, and students often come back and say, when can I go again? It's like, sign up, happy to take you.
The more I hear about all the programs, the more I see the Franciscan value
Of our school just highlighted in everything you guys do. And I also noticed that Bonaventure is so big on community that it just makes sense that with these amazing programs, we bring the Bonaventure community into the community around us and kind of cause a melting pot in a way that's definitely seen at places like the Warming House.
So,
The Franciscan Center for Social Concern has to raise $150,000 each year to run all of these programs. We get a ton of support from the university. It just doesn't come in the form of dollars. But you know what? I get help from security. I get help from facilities. I get help from the business office. I get help from student affairs. I get help from departments, the academic, the schools, the colleges. So I get so much support on this campus. The communication in the Tom Missel and his group, the communications team here on campus. Gosh, I should have never started listening to them because it's so easy to forget one. They offer me the business department. What happens with them is that when we get a bill, I send it over to them. They take it out of our accounts, but they take care of all the paying of bills and invoicing and things like that. So the Warming House and Bonobos could never pay for that support, but it's working right now through some really active fundraising, through grant writing. So that's what the money's going to go for. What I can say is that I can promise you it will be used well. Somebody worked really hard for every dollar that we're going to be given in the next few weeks. And I take that very seriously. And I try to help our students to take that seriously. So when I arrived, Bonobos sort of had a budget, but didn't really have a budget. Now I'm like, hey, we're working within a budget. Because again, it goes back to if we're helping people get ready to leave Bonaventure, when you go work in a job, your boss is never going to say, Gabby, spend as much money as you need. That's just not life. So I think that when our student organizations and clubs can learn good practices and best practices, we're only helping people for the future. So the money will be used well. Last year, the Giving Tuesday at Bonas raised over about $74,000. We put our goal lower this year. It was higher than last year. Last year our goal was 40,000 and we raised 74. This year our goal is 50,000 and we'll see what we raise. We don't know if last year was a one and done because of the pandemic, or is that sort of the sweet spot where we're going to be. Time will tell. I mean, statistically and data wise, if you're a person who loves that, this is really interesting to see how it's going to all play out. But we can promise that all the money will be used well and for the purposes intended, for the outreach programs of the Franciscan Center for Social Concern, and to help run those programs.
I bet there are people listening
Right
right
now
now.
wondering, well, I hear all these amazing things that you do. How can I donate? So what is the website and go through the process of donating to this amazing cause?
So if you go to the best way, Cassidey, can you just put that link out there right now or just say what it is?
The link is, I think it's
www.edu/giving at Bonas.
nope. Okay, let's
Giving
go back.
Tuesday at
Giving
Bonas?
Tuesdays at
Yes.
Bonas. So let's just do that one more time. It's
www.sbu.edu/Giving Tuesday at Bonas. Now, if you go to the website on November 30th, which is actually Giving Tuesday, there'll be a link right on the front page. That'll be a cute picture of Riley, the Bana wolf, with a Bana buddy. That's going to be highlight the front page of the website that day. So that'll be an easy place. If you go to Facebook, Instagram, and even if you look on Insta, the Buzz's Insta, they just shared a post. So you can find the link there. We've gotten some great coverage in the Olean Times-Herald. Yesterday, there was a front page article about Bana Buddies. So there's lots of ways to find it. Or if you still can't find it, use that best email on this campus. Send me an email at anation@sbu.edu and I will send you the link. But you can also call us too and say, hey, how do I give money?
Isn't the site live right now?
The site is live now, yes. make it live a couple weeks ahead of time as we're gearing up for Giving Tuesday, and then it will be live through the night of November 30th. It'll get shut down on the morning of December 1st.
Right. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our wonderful listeners about these amazing programs?
You know, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm not only thanking you for me, but for the students like Gabby, who, I mean, these are the things that students remember from their college experience. It's, yes, classes and what they came here for is really, really important. There's no doubt about that. That paper that they earned, that's why they're here. But when you look back, you know, I'll have Gabby talk about this in a second, just about this is some of the stuff that our students remember. And it's fun stuff, great leadership experience. So all of this support it's for our students, but it's not only for our students. I remember when I first came here, Dr. DePiro and I were talking, and he looked at me straight in the eye and he said, Alice, one of the things that I loved about Bonaventure when I was applying here, you know, when I was in the process of becoming president, is that Bonaventure is a very outward-facing university. Sometimes universities get nailed for being very inward-facing and being a bubble. Bona's looks out. He says, the Warming House, Bonobos, all your outreach programs, help us do that. He said, it's a great responsibility. Use it well. And I've never forgotten that. But that's not only the message for me, it's a message for the students who run the programs, because I don't really run the programs. I have influence, but I don't run them. So if you could just talk for a minute, Gabby, about why do you bother?
Why do I bother? I think I've been a part of Bonobos since my freshman year, and I'm a senior. And I take the time because I think it's very important for not only me, but to include, for me to be included in these experiences. And I get to connect with most of the families in Bonobos have a relative or a sibling or a mom or dad who attended Bonos. And so it's all about connections. I will be walking, Wegmans one day wearing a Bonaventure shirt or wearing a St. Bonaventure hoodie, and I'll be at home in Buffalo, and someone will just say, Bonnies. And it's just those connections that's being able to have something to relate to others about. So when I see someone in public and we get talking, we get to what clubs and what programs we were a part of. And it's just, you're meeting new people. It's more connections along the way. And the one thing I can take away from, I think, college is connections are very important, and same with experiences. And so that's why I do it. I do it to make these connections. I do it to gain my experiences in leadership and be able to run something and be proud of a program that I run. So that's why I do it. And I'm pretty sure that's why majority of the students do what they do.
Gabby, were you on the United Way team last year?
The grant proposal? I was not, but okay. I was there helping organize the PowerPoint. I'll be on it this year for sure.
So the other cool thing in the Franciscan Center for Social Concern is that we write a lot of grants. So I'm capable of doing it. But if I bring students into that process, then they get successful grant writing experience. Last year, we did a proposal to the United Way for Bonobos and the Warming House. It was a $17,000 pitch, and I was a potted plant. I didn't really talk. It was the students who did the pitch. A couple of years ago, the night before this pitch happened, a parent of one of the students called me up and said, please don't give that much responsibility to my son. And I said, sorry, too late. They're doing it. And the students hit it out of the park. So now they have grant writing proposals as part of their wheelhouse. And they've gotten the nervousness out of the way of that. So within the FCSC, you're able to get so many experience. It's because it's a small department. And so I rely on students to, we hire a lot of student workers and we have a lot of volunteers, and I rely on students to help make this whole thing work. So it's a pretty magical thing. Can you tell I love my job?
I can tell. The FCSC is just providing so many opportunities to students, to community members, to the kids that come to Bonobos, just everyone that they seem to touch in this community. They have their life in some way.
We will be back.
So we will be back.
Giving Tuesday, November 30th, to talk again about these amazing programs and how you can donate. And I'm here to thank Alice Miller Nation and Gabby for being here to share what the FCSC does and all the amazing things that you can help continue in the future. So that is all I really have for today. Do you guys want to say anything else before we end our show here?
Just one thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the support you've given us in the past and all the support you'll give us in the future. Live your good journey. And today at 2:00, go Bonnies.
Go Bonnies.
Go Bonnies. Thank you all for
And I hope you have
listening.
a great day.